Story 1. Am I the asshole for wanting to go to the wedding of my father and his fiancée who cheated on my mother? When I, F17, was born, my mother was diagnosed with a brain tumor. One of her symptoms was mood swings and reduced ability to judge her actions. I was just a baby and she couldn't take care of me, so I moved in with my grandparents. My father had his own business and that took up a lot of his time. My mother's only company was my older brothers who were over 12 years old. Until the age of 10, I lived with my grandparents. They had a neighbor named Alice who considered me her daughter. She took me to school, bought me gifts, taught me other languages, gave me advice, and traveled with me. I rarely saw my mother, so Alice became my mother figure. After many surgeries and chemotherapy, my mother was finally saved. It was difficult for me to move into her house. I barely knew her. Every day I called Alice, and at least once a week she would take me to her house or some fun outing. Sometimes my mother tried to cut off our contact, and this made me very resentful. When I was 12 years old, my father filed for divorce. The only reason he was still married was my mother's illness. Soon after, he announced that he was dating Alice. According to my mother and older brothers, the two had been having an affair for over 10 years. I remembered the times my mother had been jealous of my relationship with Alice, and I thought things made sense. Despite everything, I haven't walked away from Alice, and she's my best friend. I started going on trips with her and my dad. The relationship with my mother took a turn for the worse, and I was constantly scolded for liking Alice so much. Since then, I've tried to pay more attention to my mother and show more love. I know your life was hard, and I try to make up for lost time, and things were going well. Last week, my father announced his engagement to Alice. He invited me and my brothers Luke, M29, and Simon, M31. Both declined the invitation, but I accepted. My brothers were furious with me. They said I was being an asshole for celebrating a wedding that came out of a betrayal of our mother. I asked my mom how she would feel if I went to the wedding, and she said she would feel betrayed and doesn't know how our relationship would bounce back after that. I really want to be present at the wedding. I love Alice like a second mother. I would feel like an asshole if I didn't go to the wedding, but I also feel like an asshole if I go to the wedding. Am I the asshole?
I think she is an asshole. What do you guys think? Comment below.
Story 2.
Am I the asshole for jumping out of a bathroom window to avoid my mom's attempt at forcing a reunion between me and my ex-fiancé? Some backstory. I had been dating my ex-fiancée Sarah for 4 years. We had been planning to get married in November 2020, but I found out at the start of this month that she cheated on me. She begged me to give her another chance, but I broke it off. The problem was that being cheated on is, in my mind, completely emasculating and humiliating. So I never told anyone that was the reason we broke up. For obvious reasons, Sarah also didn't tell people we broke up because she cheated. So people have blamed me for the breakup, including my mom. They just see that I dumped her out of the blue. I've gone very strict no contact with Sarah after I discovered she was cheating on me. Sarah has been talking with my mom and has convinced her that if we could talk one more time, we would be able to reconcile. My mom has been applying hardcore pressure on me to talk with Sarah, but I've explained that there's no chance we will ever get back together. So tonight, I go over to my mom's place because she's hosting family for Christmas Eve. I'm there for a bit talking with my aunts and uncles and cousins when the doorbell rings and I can see it's Sarah. I ask WTF is going on, and my mom says she invited Sarah so we can work this out in the spirit of the holidays. I'm pissed now because the only way to explain my side of the story is to tell everyone I was cheated on. Complete humiliation in front of my whole family. So as my mom goes to the front door, I go into the bathroom. My mom starts knocking on the door saying that I need to come out and talk to my ex like an adult. I say fuck it, kick out the window screen and get in my car and go home. My mom called a short while ago saying she's cutting ties with me over my behavior. She's really fixated on me jumping out of a window, and that Sarah will always be like a child to her. My sister called me after to ream me out for ruining Christmas. I broke down and told her that Sarah cheated on me, which is why I dumped her and didn't want to see her under any circumstances. She called me a big asshole who was lying to cover for myself. Am I really in the wrong?
I think he is not the asshole. What do you people think? Comment below. Story 3.
Am I the asshole for asking my grandparents how they can be so cruel after they accused my mom of the same? 2 years ago, my parents' marriage ended because my mom found out dad was cheating and had another woman pregnant. My sisters and I, 17M, 15F, and 14F, wanted nothing to do with dad afterward, and he was not given any formal custody. It was a decision left for us to decide if we wanted to see him. We didn't. He had a daughter with the other woman a year ago. Now their daughter was taken by CPS and is currently sitting in foster care. My grandparents, dad's parents, want my mom to raise her so we will know her, and so she will have us growing up. Mom said no. At the same time, they were trying to pressure us to accept visits with her, so she'll know us anyway, but my sisters and I are not interested. My guess is they want us to meet her, so we'll ask Mom to raise her. Mom did get a call and was asked if she would take her by a social worker, but her no was the last contact we had with the social worker. We only had contact once before that, where she was asked if visits between us and the girl were wanted. They weren't. My mom tries to keep me and my sisters out of it, but I have heard her lose her cool and answer the phone to tell my grandparents to leave her alone. I also heard my grandparents call her names and remind her over and over that my sisters and I are related to this girl and Mom should want us to know each other and be close. I heard Mom cry the other night, so I called my grandparents and told them to leave my mom alone. They tried to defend themselves, but I told them to stop. I brought up them calling my mom cruel earlier that day, and I asked them how they could be cruel. I asked, why didn't they take their granddaughter, and why do they want her to be somewhere she's not wanted or loved or cared about? They spluttered over the phone, but I didn't let them really speak, and I told them that's exactly what they're trying to set her up for, and it's not good. I told them none of us want her here or want a relationship, and they're the cruel ones trying to force her in here anyway. They went crazy yesterday over what I said. Mom finally blocked them, but they're also trying to make themselves heard via social media. Am I the asshole?
I think he is not an asshole. What do you people think? Comment below. Story 4.
Am I the asshole for siding with my friend after he cheated on his wife? My 27M friend, 24M, and his wife have been married for 3 years and have 2 small babies. Recently, another woman reached out to his wife to tell her that a few years back, while they were living in separate states, he was in the military, they slept together. This has caused a great deal of havoc to their marriage and things have been super tense. However, the wife has been extremely toxic lately, and although I understand she is hurt, she is taking advantage of this situation to get her way on everything. Most recently, she basically guilt-tripped my friend into buying an expensive cat because, in her words, she deserves it. They already have 5 other cats and 2 small babies, and not a lot of economic resources to add another expensive cat into the mix. My buddy agreed as a way to keep the peace. He's trying to save his marriage, but at what cost? She's doing whatever she wants, leaving him the kids to go out late, making him do extra work around the house even though he works a very physical job, and now the whole cat situation. I told my wife the situation and how I think she's being unreasonable, but my wife says that his wife is probably very hurt and isn't dealing well with all the emotions that come from finding out he cheated. As I said, I can empathize, but this is no excuse to treat my friend like dirt. There's a healthy and unhealthy way to deal with the situation, and she's choosing the unhealthy way to go about it and causing more damage. My wife is now mad at me. She said she will take the wife's side on everything and support her in whatever she needs. He's the one that messed up after all, and he needs to deal with the consequences of his actions. She says he should give her whatever she wants. But where do you even draw the line? When will he stop paying for a mistake from years ago? This has now created a rift between me and my wife. But I don't think I'm being TA here for taking my friend's side. Look, I know what he did was awful, but 2 wrongs don't make a right, and she's just being spiteful and selfish, getting her way in everything she wants and guilting him into big decisions that will only hurt their family even more.
I think he is an asshole. What do you people think? Comment below.
Story 5. Aita for confronting my ex about her cheating? I broke up with my ex a year and a half ago. We had been dating for over 4 years, and out of the blue, she wanted to break up. I thought things had been going great. We had been talking about getting married and moving in together, and all of a sudden, she wanted to end things. The day before, we had been making anniversary plans, and when I called her the next day, she said we should cancel them and we should break up. I tried talking to her and even drove out an hour just to talk to her, but she refused to give me any other information. Not sure if relevant, but she had closed off to me in the past and broken up out of nowhere. During those times, I tried really hard to reach out and try to resolve things, but this time, I was just tired. So for about a year, I didn't talk to her and just felt shitty about the whole situation. A few months ago, I was hanging out with some mutual friends and they were telling me about her new BF. It's been like a year at that point. I'm still a little sore about it, but she can date whoever she wants. But as we're talking, I realize that their anniversary overlaps with the time when she and I were still dating for a period of a few months. I was devastated. Of course, I minded the cheating, but I was more upset that she didn't tell me this was the reason. I spent months blaming myself for ruining what I had perceived to be a perfect relationship. This made me really upset to the point where I fell into a little bit of a depressive state. I had doubts about ever finding someone and had panic attacks about how I could trust anyone in the future. Recently, I got back into dating and I'm reminded of this whole situation again, and I feel like shit. So I had a guy's night out and got trashed. At the end of the night, I ended up texting her and telling her she should have just told me about it and that I know why she broke up with me. I realize it's been over a year and maybe I should have just moved on. But am AITA for bringing it up when she's happily moved on with someone else? Side note, a few of my friends think they are getting engaged soon, haha.
I think he is not an asshole. What do you people think? Comment below. Subscribe for more interesting stories.